Hi, my name's Eddie Facey. I'm the supervisor of the real-time systems at Cobb EMC. Cobb EMC, we're at a non-profit EMC just outside the perimeter of Atlanta. We have 220,000 meters, 198 47 substations, 198 theaters, and we have about 1,000 downline devices that we manage with the SCADA system from Surveillant. Surveillant does a great job. It's an easy to use interface, pretty intuitive. The database editor and the display editor are easy to use. We were able to put our whole database together of that considerable size. We've done it ourselves in about a year. There's some great tools which are used. There's some mass import tools, mass export tools. There's some great tools for just checking the data in the field. They've got some point viewers which are easy to use when you've got data coming in from the field, easy to update where you can see if the points change, what the values are, and you can do that even before you go ahead and build the display, so then you know your database is actually good. The IAD template, I cannot say enough about it. I'm not sure we would have been able to do the project in that sort of timeline without having the IAD template. The IAD template gives you all the power to then take advantage of the control panels, which are simply amazing from Surveillant. They look good, they look like the devices in the field, and they're easy to go ahead and then create your own, which are intuitively obvious for our operators to go ahead and use and actually control. And the time it takes when we were doing it before on our previous system, we can do what used to take maybe 3 to 4 hours. We can do in about 15 to 20 minutes. So the time and the savings there alone are massive. And there's no need for stopping and starting the system for, relatively simple changes. The system's solid. In the 3 years that we've been live, we haven't had one SmartView quit on us. They've all stayed, up and running flawlessly. When I've had to bring the system down for whatever reason, typically for patch management or there's some sort of hardware change, the system will stop and get back up and operational in about a minute and a half. And we've got a fairly large database. If you'd have told me previously on our previous system, that same stop-start time might have been closer to 45 minutes to bring it up. And then you had to sort of cross your fingers and cross your toes, hoping it did come up. We haven't had any of those problems with Surveillant. One of the big takeaways I'll say for Surveillant is when doing upgrades, long gone are those days of waterfall upgrades. We've been able to do all the upgrades ourselves, just using the install documentation that gets sent with Surveillant, and we haven't had any problems with our upgrades. Which, if you'd have told me that 5 years ago on the previous system we're on, I would never thought that was actually believable. But when we spoke to the customers before we got to the system, 99.99% of the customers actually do their own upgrades, which I think that's time saving in its own and very cost effective, because you're paying for support, but you're paying for the upgrades. It's great. One of the things I'm impressed with the Surveillant SCADA system is I don't think Surveillant gives himself actually enough credit for some of the features that they've got in, which, to their credit, they don't know that the other vendors might not even have these features. As an example, Surveillant, for every single analog value in their system, you can right-click on it and immediately know what the last 15-minute value was, what the high value was, what the max for the last hour, the last day, the last week, the last month. On some systems I've dealt with, that would be an act of Congress. You'd have to go ahead and set up some sort of historical data, create some special report, so then I could right-click on a point to go ahead and pull that from some historian. Meanwhile, Surveillant does it on every single point that they've got available. Even some things like for the Scanix, they've got where you've got it's acting as like a communication server. But for us, just being able to do that quickly to show as if the system's working in real time on our QA system and stuff it just helps us out tremendously.